Welcome to this week's painting update. Over the last couple of weeks I've been painting these 54mm Phoenix models, which date from at least the late 70s, maybe earlier. These are some of the miniatures that got me into the whole gaming painting miniature hobby when I saw them in a shop in 1978 in Guildford, where I was working at the time. And I've always wanted to paint them, and until now I just never got round to it. You'll have noticed, as was very common at the time with fantasy figures of this type, that most of the women aren't wearing very much. So if this is offensive to you, you may as well stop watching now, because they are what they are. Okay, where to start? I tell you what, let me put a 28mm miniature with them. There we go. So that's oh, I don't know what he is. He's a Games Workshop poxy boy, but so he's a heroically scaled 28mm miniature against these 54mm scale miniatures. So as you can see, they are pretty large. Let's get rid of him. And they were quite daunting to paint, I must say. Lots of large areas, mostly of flesh. But I was very tempted to go down the route of putting elaborate patterns on their clothing. But in the end I didn't. I kept it very simple because I realized that I just needed to really get them done, not to make them the best figures I've ever painted. And as it stands, I'm very happy with the results. Okay, let's start with some close-ups. I'll kind of start at the front and work back, I think, because that'll make it easier to handling. So over here we've got one of the banquet guests. Now there we go. There used to be some couches that these sat on, which are no longer available, and there was a table with a really nice sort of fish dish on it. But since I can't get the couches and the table, I'm going to move them away as I cover them, so they're sort of, we slowly run out of figures to look at. Because I couldn't get the furniture, I didn't buy the whole set of figures that go with the sort of banquet setting. And anyway, I've decided these are going to be gods in my 28mm games. So he'll be the god of wine or something similar, and it doesn't matter. It's a shame though, because I really would have liked to have the banquet scene. Another one from the banquet scene is this young lady. Actually, she's not that young. Scoffing her grapes. She's there she is. Is that? Yeah. So the ultimate in decadent pose, isn't it? So they're not peeled. They should be peeled grapes. So there's her. She's reclining, and then the other reclining figure I've got is this girl, who is, I don't know, just enjoying herself. As you can see, she's a variation on this girl. And she and Khan on his throne are inspired by a Frazetta painting, in fact, of Romans. There'd be some Romans here, and she's sitting there. So now this one is one I actually bought many years ago, and I painted her in acrylics, not acrylics, sorry, in enamels way back when, and I've since lost her. All right, let's clear the front then. So this Afghan Hound and this Afghan Hound come with the Queen. Here's the Queen. So she comes in a set of 3 with them. She's suitably haughty. Real. These are quite tricky to clean, these miniatures, so there are a couple of mould lines left. Again, I just wanted to get them done, so I didn't spend as long as maybe I could messing around with them. Right, thinning the herd. Okay, just do this guy. This is a Thorian prisoner. I don't know, some kind of beast man. I didn't paint him with this batch. He was one of my test figures to see if I wanted to, or indeed could, paint the range. So, but he's here because he's an Atlantis figure like they are, and I wanted a group shot of everybody. Alrighty, who's next? The princess. Okay, princess and panther. It says leopard, but I'm damned if I was going to paint a leopard. So she gets a Sylvester. Nice black panther. She came with a chain for this bit. It was such a pain to fit and get to work that I just changed it for some wire to look like a rope. Okay, princess and panther. Similar to the princess, we've got the palace guard in her protective bikini briefs, and she's got a helmet there. So nice figure. She overlooks the prisoner, obviously. Right, that leaves the little dwarf kind of on his own. I've decided to put him with the old witch. So I'm not sure that this guy was in the original range at all. He's not in the catalogue I've got from the time, I believe. But anyway, sort of misshapen dwarf chap, kind of an Igor figure, and the old woman, the witch, the almost certain she's going to be my goddess of death or decay or something. There we go. Closing in on the final few. All right, so some of the men. Again, they're not wearing much either, but here's the orator, giving it his all. And the African emissary. I enjoyed painting him. He's I thought he came out pretty well. Very pleased with him. There we go. And let's finish off with the men. Let's do this is the standing Khan figure. This is a quite a classic Rosetta pose, but a bit of John Severin styling of Kull the Conqueror in there, I think. Lovely figure. This was another one that I had years back, painted in enamels, and subsequently lost. 3 more women then before the set piece. Okay, captive girl. Nice sculpt. Good. Not wearing anything except from chains. There are other captive girls in this set. There's a sitting one, but really, how many do you need? And then the girl with the fan. Important addition to any court scene. There she is. And then finally the dancing girl. Now the dancing girl, I painted her back in the 90s. She's been my Aphrodite for my Greek sets for a long time, and I didn't bother redoing one of her because she's perfectly acceptably painted. So again, she wasn't part of this week's painting, but there she is. So that leaves us with the final piece, the sort of set piece, which is Khan on his throne with the girl. She's sculpted so she fits the steps and can't be used independently. And the 2 cats are also Phoenix models, but they're accessories from their historical range. I just needed something to kind of fill the front since I knew he was going on a round base. Again, very John Severin King Kull look to the whole piece. Khan isn't on his throne, isn't glued to his throne. I've left him separate because then I can have the throne and the girl and a standing Khan, and this guy can, there we are, keeping obviously the realism of not having two Khans in the same room together. Okay, so that's it for this week. That's another project that I've long wanted to do, out of the way. A sort of theme of this year in many ways, what with the Camel Corps and the Northwest Frontier that I've been wanting to do for years. And next up, I'm returning to the American Civil War to get some ACW forces back in my collection, because all the ones I've sold. But for now, that's it for this session. So if you've stayed here this long, thank you very much. Please like and subscribe, maybe leave a comment. It all helps. Well, helps my ego anyway. I don't think it helps anything else. But I do appreciate my subscribers. It is nice to know some people find these mildly entertaining. So as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.